Is matter around us pure? Chapter number 2. How can we know that ghee, milk, butter, salt, spices, mineral, water, or juice that we buy from the market are pure? For a common person, pure means having no adulteration. But scientists says that all these things are actually mixtures of different substances and hence not pure. E.g., milk is actually a mixture of fat, water, proteins, etc. According to scientists, constituent particles of a substance having same chemical nature makes pure substances. A pure substance consists of a single type of particles. We can see that most of the matter around us exist as mixtures of two or more pure components. So, for example, minerals, sea, water, soil, etc. are all mixtures. What is a mixture? Mixtures consist of more than one kind of pure form of matter. We know that dissolved sodium chloride can be separated from water by the physical process of evaporation. However, sodium chloride is itself a pure substance and cannot be separated into its chemical constituents by physical process. In the same way, sugar is also a substance which contains only one kind of pure matter and throughout its composition is the same. Soil and soft drink are not a single pure substances. So whatever the source of a substance may be, it will always show the same characteristics properties. Thus, we can say that a mixture contains more than one pure substance. Types of mixtures depending upon the nature of the constituent substances that form a mixture, we can have different types of mixtures. Activity 1. Let us divide the class into groups P, Q, R, and S. Group P takes a beaker containing 100 milliliter of water and one spatula full of copper sulfate powder. Group Q takes 100 milliliter water and two spatula full of copper sulfate powder in beaker. Groups R and S can take different amounts of copper sulfate and potassium permanganate or common salt sodium chloride and mix them to form a mixture. Note the observations. Note the observations on the basis of uniformity in texture and color. Groups P and Q have obtained a mixture which has a uniform composition throughout. Such mixtures are called homogeneous mixtures or solutions. Some other examples of such mixtures are salt dissolved in water and sugar dissolved in water. Now compare the color of the solutions of these groups. So both the groups have obtained a copper sulfate solution, but the intensity of color of the solutions is different. This indicates that a homogeneous mixture can have a variable composition. Groups R and S have obtained mixtures with physically distinct parts and non-uniform compositions. Such mixtures are called heterogeneous mixtures. Mixtures of oil and water, sodium chloride and iron fillings, salt and sulfur are examples of heterogeneous mixtures. Activity 2. Let us again divide the class into four groups P, Q, R and S. Distribute the following samples to each group. Few crystals of copper sulfate to group P, one spatula full of copper sulfate to group Q, wet flour or chalk powder to group R, few drops of ink or milk to group S. Ask each group to add the given sample in water and stir properly using a glass rod. Observe if the particles in the mixture are visible. Direct a beam of light from a torch through each beaker containing mixture and observe from the front each the path of the beam of light visible. Leave the mixtures undistributed for some time. Is the mixture stable or do the particles begin to settle? Filter the mixture. Is there any residue left on the filter paper? Discuss the results and form an opinion. Groups P and Q have got a solution. Group R has got a suspension. Group S has got a colloid solution. What is a solution? The homogeneous mixture of two or more substances is called a solution. We use various types of solutions in our daily life. lemon, soda, water, etc. are all examples of solutions. Usually, we think that a solution is a liquid that contains either a solid liquid or a gas dissolved in it. But we can have solid solutions, allows and gaseous solutions. Here too, in a solution, homogeneity is at a particle level. For example, Lemondo tests the same thought. This shows that salt or sugar particles are evenly distributed in the solution. Monotone allows these are homogeneous mixtures of metals and cannot be separated into their components by physical process. But still, an alloy is considered as a mixture since it shows the properties of its constituents and can have variable composition. For example, brass is a mixture of zinc approx 30% and copper approx 70%. A solution has a solute and copper and a solvent as its components. The component that dissolves the other called the solvent. The component that is dissolved in the solvent usually present is lesser amount is called the solute. Examples: solution of sugar in water is an example of a solid in a liquid solution. Here sugar is the solute and water is the solvent. A solution of iodine in alcohol called tincture of iodine has iodine solid as the solute and alcohol liquid as the solvent. Aerated drinks like soda water etc. are the examples of gas in liquid solutions which contain carbon dioxide gas as a solute and water liquid. As a solvent, air is an example of a gas in gas mixture. Air is a homogeneous mixture of a number of gases. Its two main components are oxygen 21% and nitrogen 78%. The other gases are present in very small amounts. The properties of a solution. A solution is a homogeneous mixture. The particles of a solution can be seen by naked eyes. They are smaller than 1 nm, 10 to the power minus 9 meter in diameter. They do not scatter a beam of light passing through the solution because of their very small particle size. So the path of light is not visible in a solution. We cannot separate the solute particles from the mixture by the process of filtration. The solute particles do not settle down when left undistributed. It means a solution is stable. Concentration of a solution. Concentration of a solution. We have observed that in a solution, the relative proportion of the solute and solvent can be different. Depending upon the amount of a solute, a solution can be called a dilute concentrated or a saturated solution. Dilute and concentrated are comparative terms. The solution obtained group P is dilute as compared to that obtained by group Q in activity 2. Activity 3, take approximately 50 ml of water in each two separate beakers. Add salt in one beaker and sugar or barium chloride in the second beaker with continuous stirring. When no more solute can be dissolved, heat the contents of both beakers. Start adding the solute again and observe the amount of salt and sugar that can be dissolved in water at a given temperature is the same. At any particular temperature, a solution that has dissolved as much solute as it can is said to be a saturated solution. We can say when no more solute can be dissolved in a solution at a given temperature, it is called a saturated solution. The amount of the solute contained in the saturated solution at this temperature is called its solubility. If the amount of a solute present in a solution is less than the saturation level, it is called an unsaturated solution. If we take a saturated solution at a certain temperature and cool it slowly, then we observe that different substances in a given solvent have different solubilities at the same temperature. The amount, mass or volume of a solute present in a given amount, mass or volume of a solution is called the concentration of a solution. There are many ways of expressing the concentration of a solution, but here we will learn only the three methods. What is a suspension? Non-homogeneous systems like those obtained by group are with flour, chalk powder plus water in activity 2, in which solids are dispersed in liquids, are known as suspensions. It is a heterogeneous mixture in which the solute particles do not dissolve and remain suspended throughout the bulk of the medium. Particles of a suspension can be seen with naked eyes. Properties of a suspension. It is a heterogeneous mixture. Its particles can be seen with naked eye. The particles of a suspension scatter a ray of light passing through it and make its path visible. When a suspension is left undistributed, its solute particles settle down, hence a suspension is unstable. They can be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration. What is a colloid solution? The mixture obtained by group S, ink by milk plus water. In activity 2 is called a colloid or a colloidal solution. The particles of a colloid are uniformly spread throughout the solution because of the relatively smaller size of particles as compared to that of a suspension. The mixture appears to be homogeneous, but in fact, a colloidal solution is a heterogeneous mixture. For example, milk. Due to a small size of colloidal particles, we cannot see them with the naked eyes, but these particles can easily scatter a ray of visible light. This scattering of a ray of light is called the Tyndall effect, named after the name of a scientist who discovered this effect. Tyndall effect can also be observed when a ray of light enters a room through a small hole. This happens due to the scattering of light by the particles of dust and smoke in the air. Tyndall effect can also be observed when sunlight passes through the canopy of a dense forest. Their mist contains tiny droplets of water which act as particles of a colloid dispersed in air. Properties of a colloid. Properties of a colloid. It is a heterogeneous mixture. The size of particles of a colloid is too small that it cannot be seen by naked eyes individually. These are big enough to scatter a beam of light passing through it and make its path visible. When left undistributed, they do not settle down. That is, a colloid is quite stable. They cannot be separated from the mixture by the physical process of filtration, but a special technique of separation called centrifugation. Perform activity 5 can be used to separate the colloidal particles. The constituents of a colloidal solution are the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. The solid the solute-like constituent or the dispersed particles in a colloid form the dispersed phase, and the constituent in which the dispersed phase is suspended is called the dispersing medium. Colloids are classified according to the state, solid, liquid, gas, of the dispersing medium and the dispersed phase. Some common examples are given in the table here. You can see that they are very common in everyday life. Separating the components of a mixture. We know that most of the natural substances are not chemically pure. To get individual components from a mixture, different methods of separation are used. Separation makes it's possible to study and use the individual constituents of a mixture. Heterogeneous mixtures can be separated into their respective components by simple physical methods like filtration, hand picking, sieving that we use in our daily life. Sometimes special techniques have to be used for the separation of the constituents of a mixture. How can we obtain color of component dye from blue black ink? Activity 4. Fill a beaker half with water. Put a watch glass on the mouth of the beaker. Pour a few drops of ink on the watch glass. Start hitting the beaker. Do not hit the ink directly. You will see that evaporation is taking place from the watch glass. Continue hitting till the evaporation goes on. Stop hitting when you do not notice any change on the watch glass. Observe carefully and note your observations. Now answer what has got evaporated from the watch glass. Is there a residue left on the watch glass? What is your conclusion? Is ink a single substance, pure or is it a mixture? We find that ink is a mixture of a dye and water, hence we can separate the volatile component solvent from its non-volatile solute component by the method of evaporation. How can we separate a cream from milk? Nowadays we see full cream, toned and double toned varieties of milk in the market. These varieties of milk contain different amounts of fat. Activity 5. Take some full cream milk in a test tube centrifuge it by using a centrifuging machine for 2 minutes. If this machine is not available in the school, you can do this activity by using a milk churner used in the kitchen at home. If you have a milk dairy nearby, visit it and find out how they separate cream from milk and how they make cheese, paneer from milk. Now answer what do you observe on churning the milk? Explain how the separation of a cream from milk takes place. Sometimes the solid particles in a liquid are so small that they pass through a filter paper. For such particles, a filtration method can be used for separation. Such mixtures are separated by centrifugation. It works on the principle that the denser particles are forced to the bottom and the lighter particles stay at the bottom at the top when spun repeatedly. Applications used in home and dairies to separate butter from cream. Used in diagnostic laboratories for urine and blood tests. Used in washing machines to squeeze out water from wet clothes. How can we separate? How can we separate a mixture of two immersible liquids? Let us try to separate a kerosene oil from water using a separating funnel. Activity 6. Pour the mixture of kerosene oil and water in a separating funnel. Let it stand undistributed for some time so that a separate layer of soil oil is formed on water. Open the stopcock of the separating funnel and let the water go carefully. Close the stopcock as the coil reaches the stopcock. Applications used to separate a mixture of oil and water used in the extraction of iron from its ore. The latter slag is removed from the top by this method, leaving the molten iron at the bottom in the surface in the furnace. The principle the principle involved is that immersible liquids separate out in layers depending on their density. How can we separate a mixture of salt and camphor? We know that camphor changes directly from solid to gaseous state on heating. These are called subliments. So, to separate a sublimable volatile components sublimate from a non-sublimable impurity, the sublimation process is used. Some examples of solids which sublime are ammonia chloride, naphthalene, and anthraquin. Activity 7 is the dye in black ink a single color. Activity 7. Take a thin strip of filter paper, draw a line on it with the help of a pencil, approximately 3 cm above the lower edge. Put a small drop of ink from a fountain pen at the center of the line and let it dry. Hang the filter paper into a jar, bigger test tube containing water, so that the drop of ink on the paper is just above the water level as shown in figure B, and leave it undistributed. Watch carefully as the watch rises up on the filter paper and record your observations. Now answers: what do you observe on the filter paper as the water rises? Do you obtain different colors on the filter paper strip? What can be the reason for the rise of the colored stop spot on the paper strip? The ink that we use has water as the solvent, and the dye is soluble in it. As water rises on the filter paper, it takes the dye particles along with it. Usually, a dye is a mixture of two or more colors. The colored component, which is more soluble in water, rises faster, and in this way the colors get separated. This method of separation of components of a mixture is called chromatography. It's called chromatography. In Greek, chromo means color. This technique was first used for separation of colors. So the name chromatography was given. This technique is used for separation of those solutes which dissolve in the same solvent. With the advancement in technology, newer techniques of chromatography have been developed. Applications to separate colors in a dye, drugs from blood, pigments from natural colors. How can we separate? How can we separate a mixture of two miscible liquids? Let us try to separate acetone and water from their mixture. Activity 8. Take the mixture in a distillation flask filtered with a thermometer. Arrange the apparatus as shown in figure. Hit the mixture slowly, watching the thermometer very carefully. The acetone vaporizes, condenses in the condenser, and is collected from the condenser outlet. Water is left behind in the distillation flask. Now answer, what do you observe as you start heating the mixture? At what temperature does the thermometer reading become a constant for some time? What is the boiling point of acetone? Why do the two components separate? This process is called distillation. It is used for the separation of constituents of a mixture containing two miscible liquids that boil without decomposition and have enough difference in their boiling points. The separate boiling points. The separate a mixture of two or more miscible liquids having the difference in boiling points less than 25 K. Fractional distillation process is used, for example, separation of different gases from air, separation of different fractions from petroleum products, etc. The apparatus is similar to that for simple products, etc. The apparatus is similar to that for simple distillation, except fractionating column which is fitted in between the distillation flask and condenser. A simple fractioning column is a tube containing glass beads as shown in figure. The beads provide surface for the vapors to cool and condense repeatedly. How can we obtain different gases from air? Air is a homogeneous mixture of different gases which can be separated into its components by frictional distillation. The flow diagram shows the steps of the process of obtaining gases from the air. If we want oxygen gas from air, see figure given below. We have to separate out all the other gases present in the air. The air is first compressed by increasing the pressure and then cooled by decreasing the temperature to get liquid air. This liquid air is warmed up slowly in a fractional distillation column where gases get separated at different levels depending upon their boiling points. Answer the following: which gas forms the liquid first as the air is cooled? Arrange the gases present in air increasing order of their boiling points. How can we obtain how can we how can we obtain pure copper sulfate from an impure sample? Activity 9. Take approximately 5 gram impure sample of copper sulfate in a china dish and dissolve it in a minimum amount of water. Filter out the impurities. Evaporate water from the copper sulfate solution to get a saturated solution. Cover the solution with a filter paper and leave it undistributed at room temperature to cool down slowly for 24 hours. The crystals of copper sulfate are obtained in the china dish. This process is called crystallization. Now answer, what do you observe in the china dish? Do all the crystals look alike? How will you separate the crystals from the liquid in the china dish? The crystallization method is used to purify solids. For example, the salt we get from seawater can have many impurities in it. The process of crystallization is used to remove these impurities. Crystallization is a process which is used to separate a pure solid in the form of its crystals from a solution. Crystallization is better than simple evaporation technique as some impurities may remain dissolved in the solution even after filtration. On evaporation, these may contaminate the solid. Some solids decompose, or some, like sugar, may get charred on heating to dryness. Applications used in purification of salt that we get from seawater. Used in separation of crystals of alum, pitcairn from impure samples. Therefore, by choosing one of the above methods according to the nature of the constituents of a mixture, we can get a pure substance. With advancements in technology, many more methods of separation have been derived nowadays. In cities, drinking water is supplied from water works. A flow diagram of a typical water works is shown in given figure. From this figure, write down the process involved in getting the supply drinking water from the water works to your home and discuss it in your class. Physical and chemical changes. Physical properties of matter can be observed and specified, color, hardness, fluidity, rigidity, density, melting point, boiling point, etc. The interconversion of states is a physical change because these changes occur without any change in composition and chemical nature of the substance. Although ice, water, and water vapor look different and show different physical properties, yet they are chemically the same. Both cooking oil and water are liquid, but their chemical characteristics are different. They differ in flammability, the flammability and odor. Oil burns in air, whereas water extinguishes fire. It is the chemical property of oil that makes it different from water. Burning is a chemical change. During which one substance reacts with another to undergo a change. A change in chemical position. Chemical change brings change in the chemical properties of matters, and new substances are formed. A chemical change is also called a chemical reaction. During burning of a candle, both chemical and physical changes take place. Can you distinguish these? What are the types of a pure substance? Substances can be classified. Substances can be classified either as elements or compounds on the basis of their chemical composition. Elements Robert Boyle, a scientist, first time used the term element in 60 and 61. A French chemist, Inotin Laurent Lavoisier, 1743 to 94, was the first to establish an experimentally useful definition of an element. He defined an element as a fundamental form of matter that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by chemical reactions. Elements can be normally classified into metals, non-metals, and metallites. Metals usually show some or all of the following properties. They have a luster sign. They have a golden, yellow, or slavery green, gray color. They conduct heat and electricity. They are malleable, can be married into thin sheets. They are ductile, can be drawn into wires. They are sonorous, making a ring sound on hitting. Gold, silver, copper, iron, solid, sodium, potassium, etc. are examples of metals. Mercury is the only metal which is liquid at room temperature. Non-metals usually show some or all the following properties. They show a variety of colors. They are pure or poor or bad conductors of heat and electricity. They are not luscious, ductile, malleable, or sonorous. Hydrogen, oxygen, iodine, carbon, coal, coke, chromium, chlorine, etc. are examples of non-metals. Some elements have intermediate properties between those of non-metals and metals. They are called metallites. For example, boron, germanium, silicon, etc. More to know. At present, more than 100 elements are known. 92 elements occur naturally, and the rest are man-made. Majority of the elements are solid. Two elements are liquid at room temperature: bromine and mercury. 11 elements are in gaseous state at room temperature. Gallium and cesium elements became liquid at a temperature slightly above room temperature, 303 Kelvin. Compounds. A compound is a substance composed of two or more than two elements chemically combined with one another in a fixed proportion. What do we get when two or more elements are combined? Electrotarian divide the class into two groups. Give 5 gram of iron filling and 3 gram of sulfur powder in a china dish to both the groups. Ask group I to mix and crush iron fillings and sulfur powder. Ask group second to mix and crush iron fillings and sulfur powder, and hit this mixture strongly till red hot. Remove the flame and let the mixture cool. Bring a magnet near both the products thus obtained and check if these are attracted towards the magnet. Mixtures. Compounds. Elements or compounds only mixed together to form a mixture, and no few compound is formed. A mixture has a variable composition. A mixture shows the properties of the constituent substances. The constituents can be separated fairly and easily by physical methods. Elements react to form new compounds. The composition of each new substance, i.e. compound, is always fixed. The new substance formed has totally different properties. The constituents can be separated only by chemical or electrochemical reactions. Compare the texture and color of the products obtained by both the groups. Add carbon disulfide to one part of the products obtained. Stir them well and filter. Add dilute hydrochloric acid or dilute sulfuric acid to the other part of the products obtained. Note: teacher supervision is necessary for this activity. Perform all the above steps with both the elements sulfur and iron separately. Now answer. Did the material obtained by the two groups look the same? Which group has obtained a material with magnetic properties? Can we separate the components of the material obtained? On adding dilute sulfuric acid or dilute hydrochloric acid, did both the groups obtained a gas? Did the gas in both the cases smell the same or different? The gas obtained by group 1 is hydrogen. It is colorless, odorless, and a hostile gas. Hence, compounds element react to form new compounds. The composition of each new substance, i.e. compound, is always fixed. The new substance formed has totally different properties. The constituents can be separated only by chemical or electrochemical reactions. Hence it is not advised to do the combustion test for hydrogen in the class. The gas obtained by group second is hydrogen sulfide. It is colorless. It is a colorless gas having a smell of routine gas X. The products obtained by both the groups show different properties through the starting raw materials were the same. The activity carried out by group 1 has involved a physical change, whereas in case of group second a chemical reaction has taken place. The product obtained by group I is a mixture of the two substances. The properties of the mixture are the same as that of its constituents. The product obtained by group second is a compound. On hitting the two elements strongly, we get a compound which has totally different properties as compared to the accompanying elements. The composition of the texture and the color of the compound are the same throughout. Thus, we cannot summarize the physical and chemical nature of a matter in the following graphical organization.